You're done. Just divorce and get out of here already. My mother-in-law raises her voice at me. She's a despicable human. Seems like she only sees me as a tool for making babies and a submissive housekeeper. With a mother like this, it's no wonder my husband turned out so twisted. Of course, I'll go through with the divorce. I'm Vicky, a 32-year-old homemaker. It's been 3 years since I married Alex. We met through work, both handling clients on different sides. I was impressed with him from our first meeting. He was friendly, had a lovely smile, and was dedicated to his job. Even when it was tough to align our project directions due to differences in our company policies, he actively shared his opinions and tried to accommodate our requests. Seeing such a reliable side of him, I gradually found myself drawn to him. And it's turned out he was interested in me too, because he asked me out for dinner when our project settled down. When we went out, he showed me his attentive and gentlemanly side, leaving a great impression in the private too. Time flew by as we enjoyed our meals together, and soon we were regularly meeting up, bringing us closer. Then one day, he asked me to be his girlfriend, and we became exclusive. Being with such a wonderful guy made me feel giddy. I hadn't had much experience with the relationships, and the guys I dated before weren't particularly nice. So having someone as kind as him was a first for me. Throughout our relationship, he treated me like a princess, making me feel loved. We continued dating without any major issues for a while. One day, he suggested going to a fancy restaurant. It wasn't our anniversary or either of our birthdays, so I wondered why such an upscale place. But then it hit me. I thought maybe he was going to pop the question. It had been a year since we became serious, and age-wise, we were at a suitable time for marriage. I wondered if he had a ring ready. I was anxious. My heart started racing at the thought, even though nothing was certain. I couldn't focus much at work that day. After work, we met up and headed to the restaurant. The place he'd reserved was beautiful, and I immediately fell in love. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was a Michelin star. The ambience and the service from the staff were impressive. And the food was out of this world. It felt like ages since I'd been captivated by dining out. It's amazing. The wine goes perfectly with the meat. Yeah, I'm glad we came to this place. As we enjoyed the delicious food, our moods lifted and conversation flowed naturally. And just as we finished dessert, he suddenly looked at me in seriousness. Is this it? Is he going to propose? I felt my heart racing and nerves kicking in. What's wrong?
Vicky, there's something important I need to talk to you about.
About what?
I want you to have this.
Alex took out a small box from his suit pocket. Opening it, he showed me the ring inside and asked,
Vicky, will you marry me? I promise to take care of you and make you happy for the rest of your life.
I had anticipated the possibility, but actually being proposed to made me super nervous. I blushed, feeling embarrassed, and too giddy to speak properly, but I managed to give him an answer. Of course, I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Really? So you'll marry me?
Yes, hon, I can't wait. His expression brightened up.
I am the luckiest guy right now. I was worried you might say no.
He seemed genuinely happy. I was thrilled to be proposed to as well. After that, we went to meet each other's parents. Both families were introduced to each other, and then we had a beautiful wedding. Many people came to celebrate with us, making it a memorable event. And so began our married life. He wanted me to be a homemaker, so I quit my job and focused on the household. I did my best to support Alex. Not long after we got married, I got pregnant. I never thought it would happen so soon, but finding it out was incredibly exciting.
Really? Awesome. I'm gonna be a dad soon.
Alex was over the moon. I thought he'd be a great dad raising the baby together. My in-laws were thrilled to hear the news as well. You did well for a change, you know. Thanks. My mother-in-law, Rose, even praised me. To tell you the truth, I didn't really get along with her. She had consistently expressed her displeasure toward me since the wedding, always asked me when she would have grandchildren, and expressed her disappointment that I wasn't some career woman or a beauty. So every time I went to my in-laws, it was uncomfortable. I mostly brushed it off, but the stress built up. I wanted to avoid dealing with her as much as possible. If she was happy about the pregnancy, I thought things would be better between us. I hoped she'd become a bit nicer to me. I prepared for childbirth with a little optimism. As the due date approached, Rose asked me, "So, is it a boy or a girl?" I just found out recently. It's a girl." "A girl? Oh my God, are you kidding me?" "What's wrong?" She suddenly raised her voice, startling me. "You're supposed to have a boy to carry on the family name."
What are you talking about? Nothing wrong with having a girl. We're not from some aristocratic family anyway.
"Oh, Steve, you're too nice to her, you know. Alex is an only child, so we need a boy." My father-in-law, Steve, tried to calm her down, but she persisted. I realized at the moment I'd never see eye to eye with her. She continued talking about how important it was to have a boy and called me useless. I didn't want to deal with the stress during pregnancy, so I decided to spend the last trimester at my parents' house. Being there helped me avoid Rose, and I felt much more relaxed. Eventually, I gave birth to a healthy girl. Steve and Alex were smitten by her right away, holding her in turns, but Rose just watched from behind. She could have at least held her grandchild since she was her blood. I thought to myself, but I was already fed up with her, so I kept my mouth shut. From then on, I spent my days struggling with housework and childcare. Our daughter cried a lot at night, which was tough, but she was an apple in my eye, so it didn't bother me at all. But there was something that bothered me a little. Alex started coming back home late. He came back close to midnight every day, and on weekends, he increasingly stayed out till morning. He still brought money home, and I was busy with our daughter, so I didn't pry too much. When our daughter turned 2, he came to me one day, saying he needed to talk.
I'm sorry, but I want a divorce.
What the heck are you saying all of a sudden?
The girl I've been seeing got pregnant.
What do you mean? Are you saying you've been cheating?
Yeah.
You loser! You were fooling around with another woman while I was doing all the parenting and housework.
Please, don't get so upset.
No kidding! I'm outraged! You betrayed me and our daughter!
I know I messed up, but I've decided to start a new family, so...
He chose to divorce me. I couldn't continue staying with a husband who cheated. So we agreed to divorce. In the midst of all that, Rose showed up at our house one day. What do you want? Just come to see your miserable face one last time. Is that so? Thinking about what a piece of work she was to come and mock me, I packed my things, pretending to listen to her. She put a disgusting grin on her face and kept speaking about soon-to-be her new daughter-in-law. Oh, she's outstanding. She's pregnant with a boy, you know. Quite a difference from someone who can only give birth to girls like you. She's young and beautiful, too. I wish Alex had married her from the start. Then he wouldn't have to take this detour with you. He's such a wonderful man, you know. He deserves someone glamorous like her. She made it sound as if I were at fault. People who talked about things only from their perspective were all like that. They didn't realize how self-centered they were when looked at objectively. What's so wonderful about him? He's the lowest of the low for cheating and getting his mistress pregnant, isn't he? Or did you teach him that cheating is okay? You've given him a shameful education. How dare you speak to me like that? I'm just stating facts. Shut up! I'm saying having a boy is what matters, and that girl is way more useful than you anyway. You're done, so get out and divorce quickly. She raised her voice at me. Such a despicable human. She only saw me as a tool for making babies and a submissive housekeeper. With a parent like that, it was no wonder Alex turned out so twisted. Of course, I'll go through with the divorce. I gladly decline a man like him. Please, you don't have the authority to belittle my son. You just happened to marry him by luck. Lightning doesn't strike twice. If you understand, just get the heck out now. She tried to kick me out right then and there. Obviously, I didn't want to live with a cheating husband any longer either. I'll handle alimony and child support through my lawyer. Yeah, I guess it's something you desperately need, huh? Considering you're about to become broke. She mocked me until the very end. How rotten she was. I wasn't going to let her bother me, though. Breaking ties with such a low person was a blessing in disguise. Having my daughter around her grandmother wasn't good for her either. I grabbed her and left immediately, heading back to my parents' house. They welcomed us warmly. You went through a lot. You can stay here as long as you want. They really are the worst mother and son. It's great to have you and our granddaughter with us. It felt calming to be back home after so long. My daughter seemed happy to see Grandpa and Grandma. Then I took some time to plan for the future. First off, I needed to demand alimony and child support from Alex. With my dad's help, I got a lawyer and served him. He was stunned by the amount I demanded and quickly contacted my lawyer. After a vigorous negotiation, he eventually agreed to the alimony and child support payments. With the combined amount, it was quite substantial. We agreed on installment payments, and if he fell behind, his salary would be garnished. There was no way he could cry poverty and avoid payment. I also demanded compensation for the mental anguish caused by his affair and his mother's harassment. Both of them were surprised by that and fought back, but with medical records as evidence, they couldn't avoid payment. As a result, Alex ended up with a bill of $100,000. His salary wasn't even that high, so carrying such a large debt was going to be tough for him, especially since his girlfriend was pregnant. It was almost impossible to raise a child while carrying such a debt that was going to take years to pay off. Moreover, Rose and Steve were also going through a divorce at the same time. Steve couldn't take Rose's rampage anymore. He came to apologize to me and my parents and informed us about the divorce. Honestly, I was amazed by his patience in staying with someone like her for so many years. I really hoped he'd spend the rest of his life using his money and time for his own happiness. While living at my parents' house, I started looking for a new job. Thanks to the qualifications I already had, I landed a clerical job and returned to the workforce after a long time. At first, things didn't go as smoothly as I hoped, and it reminded me of when I first got a job right after college. I was the same back then. If I worked hard and stayed humble, I believed things would eventually work out. I threw myself into work. When I got home, my daughter greeted me with a big hug. Just that made all the fatigue disappear, and I felt motivated again. My mom cooked dinner, and enjoying the meal with the four of us, my parents, my daughter, and I, gave me peace of mind. With their support, I faced each day as a single mother doing my best. Around the time my divorce was finalized, I suddenly got a call from Alex. It gave me a chill. I didn't even want to hear his voice and ignored calls at first. The phone kept ringing persistently, so I reluctantly answered. "What do you want now? Why do you keep calling me?"
Hey, let me ask you one thing. Can a child have a different skin tone and hair color from its parents by some kind of gene mutation?
What are you talking about all of a sudden?
I mean, can a child born to Caucasian parents have a yellowish undertone to the skin? Can they have jet black straight hair?
He sounded pretty shaken up over the phone. From what he was saying, I kind of figured out what he wanted to ask. "Do you mean your baby's biracial?"
Ugh.
"Are you saying your wife got involved with an Asian origin and got pregnant?"
Don't say it so bluntly. I've been fooled. She said it was my kid and was a boy, so we got married. But I can't raise a child thinking it's mine when it's not. As he grows up, everyone will figure out he's not mine.
But legally, you're the father on the birth certificate, right?
Darn it. How did it come to this? Hey, can we start over?
Excuse me?
My mom and I will move in with you and your parents. We can be one big happy family.
What the heck are you talking about? That's so gross.
Gross? What do you mean?
Come on, you know what I mean. Why do we have to live with your mom anyway? Listen, neither me nor my daughter have any love left for you. I don't want to see your face or talk to you. Honestly, I don't even want to hear your voice like this.
Don't be so harsh. We used to love each other, didn't we? Please, I'm begging you. Save me and Mom.
You're the one who betrayed us. Stop saying things that only benefit you. You don't have the right to see us anymore. And I won't withdraw the alimony and child support demands, ever. Remember, if you ignore the payments, your salary will be garnished.
Ugh.
I hung up on him. But later, he and Rose showed up at the house. I took refuge in a room with my daughter, and my dad dealt with them.
What do you come here for? Please let us stay with you.
His brain must have been wired totally differently from a normal person's. Despite being harshly rejected by me, he had the nerve to show up with Rose. I assumed they were that desperate, but they underestimated us too much. My dad, being the gentle person he was, wouldn't have forgiven someone who betrayed his family.
Stop talking nonsense and get out of here, or I'll call the police. Wait, just hear us out, please. You guys are just strangers to me now. We were once family, weren't we? I'll work and contribute to the household finances too.
I'll do the housework too, so please let us stay. They adamantly insisted. Then a patrol car showed up. Oh my God, when did you call them?
I can't believe you reported us. Enough with the nonsense. You're strangers, as I said before. In other words, trespassers. Obviously, I'll report them. I had asked my wife to call the cops already. Oh no.
They tried to flee in panic. That just made the cops more suspicious, and they were detained on the spot.
Wait a minute. We were just talking.
Please let us go. Why do we have to get arrested? They struggled, but they were mercilessly put into the patrol car and taken away by the officers. Afterward, they were released, but we got a restraining order against them. Word got out at Alex's workplace about his arrest, which led to his demotion and had his salary reduced, making life even tougher. He got divorced from his second wife and received alimony since the child wasn't his. He also started a legal process to take his name out of the birth certificate. So, in the end, his debt increased with the lawyer fee. Currently, Rose has started working part-time, and they are living a humble life while trying to repay the debt together. Well, it's all their own doing, and they well deserve it. Meanwhile, I'm enjoying my ordinary but happy life with my daughter and parents. I'm getting used to my job, and gradually I'm earning recognition from those around me. I'll continue to dedicate myself to work while watching my daughter grow with my parents by my side.